our final news article, I'm actually going to read an email we got that's kind of attached to it as well. This happened today, so it's a fresh email, fresh article. I alluded to it earlier. We're going to talk about Xbox because they just, they love kicking themselves. The supposed 2027 handheld. So I don't know how much we've talked about on the show. I think maybe the last episode or the episode before we had talked about it, because last episode we were very focused on PlayStation, but the plans were, here's this Asus 2025 branded handheld, and then supposedly they were working on their own proprietary handheld for 2027 along with whatever the next Xbox is. That project has apparently been canceled, so there will not be a proprietary Xbox handheld, which
it's gonna be the Steam Deck thing we saw, the Asus thing we saw, right? The
Asus thing is different, but that's supposed to be out this year,
right?
So
but they'll just do that instead.
They'll just do that. Like, why make their own proprietary thing at this point? Let me read the email we got, and we'll get into it because it's Xbox time.
Yay.
Alan from Richmond, Virginia. Hi guys, love the podcast and the show. I'm sure you get a lot of questions about Microsoft and your opinions on whatever the fuck they are doing currently, but I wanted to reach out regarding the news coming out today that Microsoft is pulling out of doing a standalone handheld device in 2027, combined with seemingly some major retailers like Target are discounting all Xbox Series X SKUs. Do you guys think that this is actually it for hardware and they are pulling out and going the Sega route? Perhaps they make an announcement at their summer showcase. And honestly, at this point, what's the feel on it? Thanks. So yeah, I didn't put that part of it in here because we got it in an email, but that's the other thing today too, is a couple retailers, the biggest one being Target, have discontinued all the Series X SKUs.
Yeah,
so the Galaxy one, the regular one, even the digital one is gone. So all that's left are Series S systems.
Everybody's trying to get dump it all. Like I sent you that link where VGP is basically clearancing everything out for $10 a piece.
Cheaper.
Some of it's cheaper, but like I think they said it's like through tomorrow. That'll get extended. They just want it gone.
Yeah.
Like I sent you. I was at Walmart last week, and I sent you that picture of the case. Everything in there is like max $7.
They're doing the same thing at my Walmart, but they have not come down to that price yet. It's still like the 15.
Yeah, but it's just like it's over. Xbox is gone. It's gone.
I feel like, I don't know. I don't think I would say the summer showcase is not the place to do that, but they've done some other wild, dumb shit in the last year where, like, I wouldn't have announced Indie is coming to PS5 before it came out on the Xbox, and they did that at a showcase. So, complete with PlayStation logo. So, they put out that banner for their showcase this year that has every other platform in front of theirs.
They're just a publishing arm now, man, which realistically, that's how they make their money back, is to focus on that and stop pumping out physical things that aren't going to sell anymore.
Yeah.
Like, could they still make another console in like 3 years? Sure. But it is.
But again, who's that for?
I don't know anymore. And that's the problem. And like, so maybe if that physical console, we've talked about it a lot before. If it had a Steam launcher, immediately sells. Because then it is an easily obtainable, pre-built thing that you could just hook up to your TV and play your Steam library. Done. I would buy it for that. I would buy it. It'd be a Steam box that also plays Xbox games.
Yeah.
Like that's what the market is anymore. It's not clearly not physical stuff. It wouldn't have a disc drive of any kind. It would would just be a box that plays digital stuff, which is what PCs are.
I mean, it would still access game. I don't think they're going to shutter Game Pass.
No. I'm saying you would have Game Pass for sure. Game Pass would always going to be a thing because that's where they're going to hope to keep the numbers are. But then you'd also, if that Xbox had a Steam launcher in it, done. And if they're really not going to make another console, figure out a way to get Game Pass on Switch too. At the very least,
I was gonna say, do you think we are ever closer to seeing a Game Pass launcher on PlayStation or Switch?
Possible, but you'd only stream stuff.
Okay.
It would be stream only.
Okay.
I don't see a world how it could be. You could download this stuff because then you're
They
downloading.
would have to make deals where it's like,
Yes.
okay,
every download
you
you
the
get,
PS5 version of it if you're on a PS5.
right. But what if there isn't one? Because there's a lot of stuff on Xbox where there's not one.
Then it would have to be streamed.
So it would have to be streamed. So wouldn't it be easier just to make sure that everything is streamed? Because then if you're downloading something, then you're using up the storage based on your PlayStation. Does Sony want you to do that for an Xbox game? No, they don't. They'd have to get a cut for every download, as opposed to probably a flat fee for how many ever people launch every whatever user number launches Game Pass on their system. But Sony notoriously hates crossplay, so would they even allow this in the fucking first place? Probably not.
Probably not.
But if Xbox isn't direct competition anymore, and they get a cut from it, then I could see it. But Nintendo, if they got money off it, I'm sure they'd be like, as long as it's streaming, we don't give a shit.
I guess I guess now we won't record until after it's happened, but these showcases and stuff are going to happen. What does that Xbox showcase look like this year?
Publishing.
It's just all
titles.
I mean, they might still have a hell of a showcase with showing games, but
sure,
it's not an Xbox showcase anymore.
If
it's a
these
publishing
games ever
showcase.
come out, they have them, but
they have the games that they keep delaying.
Fable, Perfect Dark. Like,
I feel like you would see Fable this year.
Would you?
I think so.
Avowed DLC, Starfield Complete,
maybe.
Starfield Complete has to be at this thing, right? How can it not be?
I think
what the fuck are we doing?
It's been rated before, I'm pretty
but
sure.
It's like it's either at this thing or it's just not coming, right? But
it's just a one morning you wake up, here's a press release,
Oblivion style. But like, why isn't it already out on PlayStation? What possible?
It is ridiculous.
What possible
that game is
reason
not out?
Is that
it will sell?
It's not making any money.
They want to sell more copies of that game.
Then sell it.
Will sell on PlayStation.
Put it on the system. People will
because
buy
there are
it.
enough people that were like, "Fuck that!" when it was Xbox exclusive.
Now that Forza
would be
okay. Now that Forza's been such a huge hit, why isn't every other fucking Forza game on this system?
Forza was a huge hit, and I saw it's part of that digital sale right now too.
Yes,
which is crazy because it just came out.
But like, put the other ones on there.
Game, but
put the other one. I don't get it.
Do you think? Because we've gone back and forth on Halo, and like my thing now is like they're not going to do the Master Chief Collection because they want to reboot that and they want to start with this.
Probably, which sucks.
I 100% agree. I don't
want it that way.
I don't want that. Just put out Master Chief Collection and make a new
Master
Halo.
Chief Collection is more than enough, and then just make Halo.
It would again, like I
honestly,
think
dude. Honestly,
you would sell more copies.
You could do both. Imagine an announcement where they're like, we're remaking Halo 1. Yeah. Check this shit out. This is what it looks like. But all the levels you like, cut content, whatever.
Yeah.
But also coming today.
This fall. Oh, okay.
Why not? They could Oblivion the hell out of it. It's easy because it already fucking exists on PC. It's done. The game has been worked on for 7 years, and they finally finished it.
I think the more likely thing, which is not the answer that you or I both like either want, but I think it's more likely it's Halo Infinite that comes first. Because they've done too much.
They want to boost the player count. They want to make that game seem relevant. Yeah, it will.
And I'll go back to it because its campaign is not bad now that it has co-op and it has pretty solid multiplayer and like horde mode stuff. So
sure, but
it would do well, but not Master Chief Collection well.
But like you could easily announce remake and release Master Chief Collection, because I don't think even if we remake Halo 1, we're probably not remaking 2 or 3 or Reach or 4 or ODST. Like we're not going to touch any of that other shit. One is the only one from, we'll say, like the old guard, maybe 2, but 2 for multiplayer, not for single player.
Yeah.
1 is the only one that still, I think, has like, it was a big deal. Like, it was a huge deal. It made the system what it was.
It made the system what it was.
2 showed what that game could be with more time and more resources and putting it online and all that kind of stuff. but story-wise, it wasn't a leap forward. People hated it too. At the time,
people hated the story of that game.
Hated it.
And then 3 redeemed it.
Well, now we love Arby, but at the time we didn't.
People hated
it.
That's a good revisionist history thing. People like to forget that. Like now, people from I'd say 2004 until 2007, people hated the Arbiter.
Ending is trash.
It is really bad.
You finish like it in the if you're gonna play 1, 2, 3 in order, it's fine. But people forget that 2 ends with you playing as Arby, loading, getting a story beat where you're on Chief on the ship as it's crashing, and the game ends.
Yeah.
I thought it made a lot of sense. Like, this is the last mission. Like, I'm on the ship as it's going down. Mm-hmm. I've got to get off. Whatever. Nope. You thought you were going to get an ending kind of like 3 was. You know what I mean? Where you're driving the thing and
3 is, I don't know. 3 is still my favorite. So
but see, 1 is still mine. Like, I would.
Everybody has their favorite. Yeah.
I would buy MCC and play that for the multiplayer and all that kind of stuff. And then the thing, if you do that, if you release both of these, you don't have to put any kind of multiplayer in the remake if you don't want to. If you don't want to waste, if you don't want to waste your time doing that, you don't have to because it already exists. You want to play 1 online, it exists. So, and it's in a package where this whole multiplayer thing is built out. Yeah. And then if it's only a campaign, it could be $50, $40.
And then they can just, roll over Infinite as well and be like, and there's multiplayer here.
You have other ways to play multiplayer. You don't need it for this. This is campaign, but we'll let you play co-op campaign. That's all it has.
I also think we've heard enough rumors that the Halo remake is probably what is being worked on. And the way Infinite ends, they're kind of in a weird spot where you probably put that on ice for a while longer and just remake the first game. So it gets very I enjoyed that campaign, but its ending is very wonky. So
there's plenty to do with that. I mean, obviously we're getting Gears.
We should see more of that, right?
Yeah, I would say you'll see a lot of that.
E-Day or we need to see more of that game.
You'll see both of them, I think.
No, right? I mean, you don't need to show much of the Gears thing coming out. They
should.
But
they should. They don't need to, but they'll show some of it.
I can see them showing that and then leading into an announcement of, E-Day will also be on PS5 when it comes out.
There's
a new trailer. Yeah.
Do we get Perfect Dark? Or is that game dead?
Last year was the year we got Perfect Dark, right?
Yeah, where we actually got some gameplay stuff of it.
I would like to see more.
The game's after Fable, right?
But it has to be a game that's after Fable, so I'm gonna say no.
Yeah,
I'm gonna say this year it's stupid because we've seen a lot of the game, and I don't feel like it's changed that much. But we see more Fable,
right?
Maybe see actual gameplay footage with a HUD for Fable because we haven't seen that yet. Mm-hmm. We've only seen what appears to be gameplay,
right?
I think there's that. What about do you think that there's any surprises or anything new?
Could we get a
Banjo 3?
Nah, Banjo's dead.
It's not happening. Do you think I got a good one for a blast from the past? Do you think Rare's Everwild?
No, that
makes an appearance.
Gone.
Okay.
Rare is a shadow, or not?
It is.
Rare is a Sea of Thieves.
It's a shadow of what it was.
But
and there's Sea of Thieves.
It's Sea of Thieves company. That's all it is. And you know what? It's working.
It's a good game.
It's a good game. You and I, we're going to play it again at some point.
It needs to hit that $15 mark on the PlayStation, and then I'm in.
Sweet spot. I'm back.
I'm back.
I'd like to see what it's like now.
I would too.
Could we get, and I don't think we will because I think it would be a Game Awards thing. Could we get a Wolfenstein tease?
Not
now. Not yet. Probably right. Indie's out.
Indie just
pretty much.
Indie
maybe
just
Indie
came
DLC.
out.
Indie does have DLC coming.
If you saw anything here, it would be the briefest of teasers. But I think they hold that for Game Awards.
Yeah, I think so too.
But I do think that you will get an announcement for that now that Indie is done, because it's very clear that they sidelined whatever that was to make Indie.
Yes.
Because when you get that license, why wouldn't you?
Well, and after you play through the Indie game, Indie has a lot of feeling of those Wolfenstein games.
Absolutely, it has feelings of both that. It has feelings of old Starbreeze games like Riddick. So
such a good game.
Such a good game.
I would like for them to show me the DLC because DLC is coming.
I figure that's probably what you get at the showcase.
That's fine for me, man. Give me a time. Give me a it's going to be $30 and it's going to come out in, July or August or something.
Oh yeah, that
Fine.
makes the most sense.
Perfect.
Now that it's out on PlayStation, that makes sense.
Now that it's out, people have had time to play it. It's done. They've done some more patches and stuff. Like, the game is finished. It's really just DLC and that. But like, let's get Wolfenstein out so I can get another Indiana Jones game. Like, before.
Speaking of PlayStation, what do you think they're obviously gonna do something. They've been announced. So they've actually announced that they'll be at the Summer Games Fest. So I think that means they're a sponsor. But I think you will get some sort of showcase.
Yotai for sure.
That's out in October.
By all accounts, Intergalactic is farther along than you think it is.
I think that's like May of next year.
Yeah, that seems like a May.
So I
June.
feel like you probably see more of that.
Maybe a little bit more. All right.
How about Wolverine?
You would have to hope.
Do you think they peek their head out and at least show something of the game? I mean, obviously they had that very unfortunate leak, and they had to go underground because of that for a long time. But like, it's been long enough between Spider-Man that Spider-Man 2 is done.
Spider-Man 2's been out for over a year, right?
So Insomniac doesn't have anything else to really show right now. So
that's all they're doing.
I would think that now is probably the time to show Wolverine.
Hey man, we got to get Wolverine out so they can get Spider-Man 3 out and finish that off, right?
Yeah.
Man, I'm still pissed. I'm still pissed they canceled that multiplayer Spider-Man game. Like, that would have been.
It would have been interesting.
So fun. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Remember, because this is just fake E3 now, and E3 was already crap by the time it was over. So
yeah,
Nintendo's going to be doing is Switch 2. But it's going to be for stuff you already know about.
Yeah, Nintendo doesn't really have to be there.
No, they'll put some stuff out, like, but it's not going to be anything you haven't already heard about.
Do you think they have any other surprise game for the holiday, or they just rely on Metroid?
Nintendo could easily do it, man. Like, we didn't know this fucking Donkey Kong game existed until they did that thing.
Yeah, right? Like,
nobody knew about it at all.
Nobody knew about it.
At least there was always like, well, there's probably going to be a Mario Kart. And then that one thing came out and was like, well, there's definitely a Mario Kart. Nobody fucking could have called Super Mario Odyssey
Kart
Donkey
World.
Kong. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's Nintendo. We've talked about it before. They're very good at keeping things incredibly secret until fucking 3 months before it comes out. So could there be one other thing at holiday? Absolutely. What is it? I don't know.
Do you think it could be an Odyssey 2?
I don't think so because Donkey Kong is too much like that.
Yeah, true.
And then they've already got like where you can play the Zelda games again. You can play this Kirby game again.
They're not gonna do a new Zelda.
No, it's not of that style. Not in Breath of the Wild tier style,
no,
and they've already
get a game like that.
And they just released Echoes of Wisdom, and
I don't think you get a third one in like that style either. I think they're going to do something different now.
But what is it? Like,
I wouldn't have been able to tell you what Breath of the Wild.
I know,
was
but like, but that's the thing, though. Is like we're pushing the limits of what these games can even become.
Yeah,
like Mario Kart can it ever go back from here? Is there ever another Mario Kart game? Or do they just keep adding pieces to this world? We said the same thing about Mario Kart 8, though. Like, what could they possibly do after they put all these tracks and stuff? I
would have
guessed they changed it to a fucking open world game.
But it seems like it works really well. Yeah.
But Zelda, we've gone as open world as we possibly can. Maybe they can. What if they made like an Ocarina of Time-esque game in that style where like there's time travel involved and you can go back and forth and the world changes? That would be cool as fuck if they did something like that. You know what I mean? You go back.
Did they ever do a ground-up remake of that game?
Of Ocarina?
Yeah.
I don't know, man. They kind of perfected it with that 3DS version, and I don't see a reason to go beyond that. That version of that game is so fucking good. It's crazy.
I still remember that like Space World, Nintendo World 2001 demo is what I always think about for the Cube. So, but
could there be a Mario game? I would say there could be a Mario game, but I don't think it would be Odyssey Mario.
I got it. Dr. Mario Returns.
I mean, sure.
For me, that's
Mario, we talked about it. We talked about it when we were trying to predict like Switch 2 games. Mario Maker 3 is the biggest thing they could come out with.
It
would immediately anybody who was a Mario Maker 2 person immediately goes to that game, and that game still has an incredibly like deep like online following of people who just play that game.
I was gonna say it would probably have to because you I mean, can you still play the first one if you have a Wii U, or is it servers are shut off? Right,
that stuff is like shut off.
Okay,
where
so you'd only be able to play 2.
Mm-hmm.
But like again, that's got to have an incredibly deep community.
But on Mario Maker 3, where imagine if they finally let you build. We talked about it before, not N64 type stuff, but I think like 3D land type stuff
would be really
would
cool.
work. And obviously, if they added a full blown, you could make Mario 2 levels, stuff like that. Or there's tons of stuff left for them to do, and so that would be.
Well, I think a lot of that team that made those Maker games are who worked on Wonder, so you could put elements of Wonder into a new Mario Maker.
I could also see like Mario Wonder Deluxe.
Oh yeah,
where they do that kind of thing, where they remix it and they add some shit.
I can see that as well.
Yeah, so
I'm still going with the Geno and Mallow excellent.
That would be
adventure.
great, but the problem with that is, and I think you can kind of tell based on the fact that like that game was on sale constantly. I don't think it sold well at all.
No, not at all.
I don't think it did either, unfortunately.
Yeah, which kind of dooms it.
Again, Nintendo like first party Nintendo games usually never go to that $30 range, and that game is always
that
at
game.
$30.
I've seen it like 25, 30,
always.
Like always.
The only other one is the Rabbids thing, but that was a crossover.
Well, even Mario
thing.
RPG is like it is them and it isn't them, but it's still a big enough thing where it's got the word Super Mario in the title where it didn't sell. It's dead.
How about we roll the dice on the last big one for E3, not E3 as a whole? Resident Evil 9.
Fuck. Do you
think we do it?
You text me that every week.
I text you.
Think they're going to announce it like next week.
The current rumor from pretty credible Resident Evil sources is that it's going to be announced next Friday.
You're not a pretty credible Resident Evil source, is what you're saying.
I'm not, but
sounds like it.
I mean, sure. I mean, Capcom, they've got nothing else going. Right? Monster Hunter is out and running. Street Fighter's on its new thing. Like, sure.
It seems like the timing really does now seem right because Monster Hunter is. They'll do more with it. They'll do patches.
Yeah, they did the Street Fighter content. Yeah, it's
sold incredibly well.
Always will.
It's time to get hyped up for that, and I don't know. I think it's time. It's more of the question of like, for me, still is what is the game? Like, I want them to get away from first person because I have not.
I think it'll go back more towards like the 4 remake. So
the 4 remake. That's what I think too, because those games
it's the one people
sold better.
Yeah, it's the one people want.
So, and remember that deluxe or gold edition of Resident Evil 8, you can play through it in third person.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I think they realize, especially after doing like the 2, 3, 4 remakes, that's the style people want.
You also have to remember, like, Resident Evil 7 was the way it was because it was also VR.
Right.
You could fully play that game in VR.
I also think it was a cool idea, like for them to be like, we're going to completely fucking change it up and make it a completely new thing.
Yeah.
But it's still like has the feeling of Resident Evil, and then we'll loosely tie it in at the end.
Yeah.
It's like a forced tie-in, but it was worth
it's
a
shot.
little
forced.
I think making a sequel to that in the form of 8 wasn't a great idea. And then
they tried to go too far in the direction of, hey, remember 4? It's kind of like that. But then also we introduced these other elements, like 7 has the Moldmen and all that kind of bullshit. And 8, they were like, well, we can do vampires and werewolves, but in the context of our Resident Evil bullshit, which is, viruses. So
if they do announce a 9, do you return to an original character, or are we doing a whole new character?
So the one constant rumor that has not gone away is that it is Leon. There was a brief period of time where they were also saying Jill, but the most recent rumors have debunked that, which makes me sad.
Gotta go back to the well, man.
But Leon,
Leon
he's who sells.
Sheva?
Well, you and I have said it all along. They need to bring Sheva back. Like, very cool character.
Sheva was
very forgotten.
Fucking awesome.
Not there, man.
Yeah.
And they've never. I don't think they've ever crossed paths. They never crossed paths in that game. So Leon and Sheva team up, pretty good.
Be cool.
Yeah,
it would be cool. Yeah, I would. I mean, obviously, I will always champion the return of Jill, but I think that's probably going to stay confined to the Resident Evil 3 remake for a while. So I still also want a remake of Code Veronica, and we skipped that to make 4.
5.
So, but that's not going to be next.
No.
Next has to be whatever the new thing is. So, I'm going to go with the rumor though. I think we are going to see it at Summer Games Fest because the time has never been more right for Capcom. So
if they don't show it, Kyle, it's dead. It's not coming out, man.
No, Resident Evil 9 is confirmed to come out at some point.
Yeah,
that's more real than
the one and only thing I can say with 100% certainty, because they did come out and say we are working on the next Resident Evil. So
that game is more real than games like Perfect Dark.
Yes, I 110%. Like Perfect Dark still at times to me it feels like a fever dream that we've all just experienced. Like,
they've only ever shown it like twice, right?
There was that original like CG trailer from the Game Awards.
Yeah,
and then this like, holy shit, it looks like an actual game now.
Yeah.
And seemed pretty cool, but hey, I don't know. Maybe I dreamt that. So